Olas Media presents 20 Doors.
Welcome to 20 Doors. I'm Nathan Abbo. This is our first podcast of 20 Doors. 20 Doors is a knowledge enrichment of real estate that we're here to give you. Generally, San Diego, provide good content, good guests, and good knowledge, something you might have not heard before. Today we have our guest, Justin Isaac, with the Lawyer of Blue Jeans. How are you, Justin?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Justin is the lawyer in blue jeans, synonymous with trust in San Diego. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. So originally, my father was the lawyer in blue jeans, and I've taken over for him since he's since retired. But we focus only on estate planning, asset protection, how to make sure your family, your kids, whomever, does not go through the government when you pass away, and properly protecting your assets from going through the court process.
Good. Well, you fit those jeans nicely.
If only I was wearing jeans today, but I'm not. But usually we do wear blue jeans in the office. But the blue jeans thing is kind of like, it's how we talk to our clients as well, too. We try and be a little bit more relatable. Some attorneys tend to talk down to people, and we try to avoid that. We make sure that you understand what you're doing and the documents that we're preparing for you.
Your brand is huge. Everyone knows you in San Diego, so stop being so modest.
Well, yeah, San Diego is great because even though we're a big city, we're actually kind of a small community, especially when it comes to estate planning. There's a lot of lawyers in San Diego, but estate planning is a very small niche in San Diego, and that's kind of nice because everyone kind of knows everyone. But San Diego has that very laid back vibe. So the blue jeans thing really, fits. Like, we grew up together out in, El Cajon, and everyone's pretty relaxed. Like, there's, you go to other cities, people are really uptight. But San Diego is known for being very relaxed, very laid back, a lot of the beach and whatnot. So, but you know that too. Though I'm sure you deal with people who are very laid back.
Oh, our vibe is the best vibe. I mean, You can travel and you can totally see the vibe difference in San Diego. Everything's different in San Diego. I mean, the real estate is different in San Diego.
Yeah.
It's awesome over here. And one of the differences between real estate here and versus kind of other cities is San Diego has so much room to grow. We're still this tiny, tiny city, which is why I like doing real estate in San Diego. There's so much upside. Every corner is growing. Yeah. Real estate has not peaked. We're trending up. It's always going to trend up until we become like Los Angeles, I guess, which I don't think we'll become Los Angeles.
I don't either. I think LA and San Diego, I can't stand Los Angeles, by the way. But I think San Diego is a lot different just in the overall vibe. And I've known you since we were kids, basically. Like, we grew up together, and you have. I think that doing what you do, if I didn't do what I do, which is law, I would love to do something like real estate, and obviously I'm not gonna. You're rated like the number one in San Diego or something like that last year, right?
That was a huge honor. 2021 Union Tribune recognized me as San Diego's best real estate agent, which was a huge honor. I was blindsided too because I just put my head down and I go to work. But I did it for enough people to be recognized. Was pretty nice.
And not to mention, during 2021, it got so crazy with real estate, and there's hundreds of agents out there. At one point, we had more inventory than we did agents, right? Or more agents than inventory.
I hear that all the time.
And that's crazy.
You know why I was so successful in 2021? Is because I saw what was going on in the economy and the market. I'm like, oh shit, they're printing. Yeah. Rates are 2%. I said, everyone stopped for those first few months of the pandemic.
Yeah.
2020 prior.
Yeah.
And I was like, these are my markets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's when I find
opportunity.
Value. Yeah. So people have you just explained what a probate is. People still don't have any idea what probate is. So talking about like value in your real estate agent and going beyond just the sale. I mean, part of doing real estate and how I'm saying people don't do it right is their agents aren't educating their clients on probate, the importance of a probate. Basically, if you don't have a probate and you die, a trust, and you die, that you just said, we're talking about 2.5 year wait where the property's not in your hands. You're frozen. You can't sell it. You probably have to make payments on this property.
Yeah, it's even more than that. So imagine if you have you're a 22-year-old kid and you just lose your parents suddenly, or they just COVID or whatever happened. you might not have the money to take on those mortgage payments. You can't get access to their bank accounts because those are frozen too. So those are all, everything is frozen as soon as you go, the probate process starts, where the bank accounts are frozen, everything's frozen. And the only way we can unlock them is if we have a court say it's okay. So you have this situation where people don't have the money to take this on, and things start building up as far as what's being owed and back costs. And it's just a really, I tell people this, if you like going to the DMV, you're going to love probate. If you don't like going to the DMV, well, going to probate is like going to the DMV for 3 years, 2 years. So it's a horrible process. But on top of that, the attorney who works on your probate gets paid before your kids do.
Again, we're here to spread awareness for sure. So if you own a property and you have kids, or for any reason, you absolutely need a trust. Something can happen any second, right?
Any second.
You die, you need access to that property. That's the whole point of having real estate. I mean, real estate is generational, it's wealth, it's everything in between. So you want access to that money. So that's part of the reason I wanted to bring you here, kind of educate some people. So to take it a step further, besides just that, some people, they don't want to think about death, they don't care. And then you take it, okay, let's take it a step further. This is kind of where I like to think like I'm like this real estate genius, you know what I mean, at this point, and I like to take things like a step further.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question for you. Trusts and divorces, right? If someone's getting a divorce, can one of the partners buy out that trust? Their half of the trust.
Typically, you don't want to do something like that, because when you set up a married or joint trust, your stuff goes to the other person if you die. And in order to alleviate that upon divorce, usually a divorce will automatically kind of nullify a trust. But if it doesn't, then your spouse is still entitled to your assets that you have in that trust together. So usually you're just going to revoke the old trust and start a new single or individual trust.
Let me tell you a story, something I kind of went through with a trust and some clients. So they were getting a divorce. They had their trust. There was a mortgage on the property. They had bought it for a super cheap amount. They're paying low property taxes. Somehow we figured it out, or they figured it out, where one partner bought out the other partner in the trust, so bought out their percentage of the trust. There was no reassessment, no changes with taxes. And that's a beautiful thing when you're talking about $10,000 a year in savings just on the taxes.
Oh, it's huge.
So for that, I think people don't even think about that could be done. You're a trust attorney. I don't know, what criteria kind of allows that, but that's something that people need to know about. I mean, it's a step further, just beyond what you think a trust protects you from.
Yeah, you really have to think about what. Okay, so when selling a property, when transferring a property, we have to think about the ramifications as far as the property tax goes, and also we have to think about capital gains. And one of the benefits of a trust is that when you pass away and your property, your assets, your things go to your kids through the trust, capital gains is expunged. There's no capital gains, right? But if you're transferring a property during your lifetime to say for instance, you have this married couple and they're getting divorced. But if the husband transfers the property to the wife or vice versa, while they're still married, no reassessment. But the minute that they get divorced, it gets reassessed because there's no exemption at that point. And so now all the value is being brought up to 2022 standard, and the property tax is going to go through the roof. So that's why it's important to be, to see a trust attorney who really knows how to kind of look at these things in the future too, to make sure that we're not getting this huge tax bill out of nowhere when we could have avoided that. So it's an important thing to know. No,
absolutely. Again, why I wanted you on this show, kind of spread that awareness. Most buyers, they have no clue. Most people in real estate have no clue. It starts at the agents. You know that. I mean, you've dealt with agents. They probably don't have their property in a trust. So some of these things, it's really up to us as the agents to it's beyond just the commission check. It's we have to give our clients this kind of information because they're going to get screwed otherwise. I mean, this stuff happens.
Yeah, I actually have a story that relates to this. Yesterday, I had an agent. Well, one of our past clients was closing on a house, and they're closing on Monday, right? So all this stuff needs to be done today, basically, or even yesterday to make sure everything goes through on Monday. They couldn't find their trust. And the real estate agent never said that they needed a copy of the trust until last night at 5 o'clock, right before we're leaving the office. And so we usually what you do is instead of sending a copy of the trust, the actual trust itself, you send a summary, right? A certification of trust. And the client couldn't find it. The agent didn't mention it until the 23rd hour. And so now we had to scramble to put one together for the client at 5 o'clock last night to make sure that this deal goes through on Monday. Otherwise, there's a huge costs and delays and stuff like that, right? Might have even fallen out of escrow.
This happens all the time.
Yep.
So post-pandemic, we had a big shift of employment. This kind of happens during every kind of backturn. All of a sudden, you see like 1 million new real estate agents. It's very, very true.
It is true.
Right? So then you have all these guys that say, okay, I want to buy real estate. The first person they go to is someone that just maybe got their license. They want to help. They're really getting no benefit by going to that person. Part of the reason why I'll say I didn't even start this show until 15, 18 years later, because I didn't have that knowledge at the beginning. I mean, I started selling real estate when I was 18 years old, and I know everyone's got to start somewhere, but it's a climb up. And we trying to create value for myself by throwing myself in that fire, buying real estate, getting myself into trouble with these huge fixer type of properties, which I'm not a fixer and flipper. I don't sell them, I keep them. But how would someone otherwise know, like, that hey, this property's in a trust. I have to get that.
Yeah.
I have to get that document to this person, or I know that at some point they're going to ask.
Yep.
They didn't even know about it from the beginning, so that's why you had to delay possible fallout, earnest money deposit loss, a lot of things at stake. Which is why when you're picking your agent, you probably don't want to go to someone because they're your friend, or you want to help them or something, or if they're new. If you're doing a serious business deal and you want serious value, you got to go with someone with experience. So that's why I wanted to come on the show.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things people are doing wrong. The way they pick real estate, the criteria that they're looking for in real estate, this whole idea like, oh, I want a dream property, that idea is fake. That's a dream in itself.
Yeah.
If I sell your dream property, you're going to get screwed somehow. If I let you pick your property, right? You came to me because I'm a professional.
Yeah.
Right? So if I let you pick your property, right, you're probably going to screw up somehow. You don't know what sells. You don't know where upside is.
Yeah.
So what I want to preach more than anything is how to find upside, how to identify value over others, how to pick this property and not that property. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and it's specific to every single person because your criteria and what you're looking for is your specific criteria.
Yep.
You have your kid, you have your 2 dogs, you have your whatever you have. You need certain things. So we're going to try to find value that kind of fit the balance of what you want and a deal.
Yeah.
So too often, people are not taking that position. People are taking the position, no, I want to just buy my dream house. I'm going to buy my dream house. Sometimes I have to take a step back and say, okay, because I'm going to lose that client. I'm going to keep telling them what I want them to do and what to avoid. But that's kind of the problem. So because I've practiced this type of like conservative selling, I had no hiccups these past 3 months. And let me tell you what that means. These past 3 months is us being in 2022 and we're at
crazy times.
October, crazy times. Right?
Yeah.
So from like July till now, it's been pretty screwed up. The rates are 7%, 7.25%. All of a sudden, people were, that were buying those stupid, ridiculous properties that had no value prior. All of a sudden, those are sitting on the market, not selling.
Yeah.
People's payments are $2,000-$3,000 difference on the same property that they were looking at. So because of those conservative measures I've taken, I haven't had any hiccups. None of the properties I sell are in that manner. They can sell today and they'll probably still make a profit. So there's certain ways to buy that to avoid, because the markets swing. Markets shift really, really quick, right? So you could throw garbage on the market 4 months ago, right? And it was selling for some top dollar.
True.
That same house, really, say it was $1.5 million, really quickly, is probably 1.3 today because it wasn't worth $1.5 million back then. But if you bought the right property, you'll probably still see value. So there's still ways to do that. I want people to know that there's still ways to do that. And it just takes kind of the right agent with the right vision.
Let me ask you a question, because everyone kind of experienced this craziness. And if you're in the real estate market, especially in the last year and a half, you've seen these astronomical numbers in growth and whatnot. And I've always kind of wondered what spurned that? What brought this on? Do you think it was people getting PPP money, or do you think it was the hyperinflation, or what made this huge jump of 20, 30%, 40% on some properties in a year?
It's a combination of all that. There's been, you know very well. I mean, can't get into too much of all the finances and the politics, but we doubled the amount of currency in circulation. That's like, what do you think is going to happen? I saw this happening the second that they were giving us the news that they're going to be printing. Okay, so that's one thing, right? That's going to create inflation forever unless they start to really drastically
like they're doing
change
now.
that, like they're doing now. But it's not even enough. I mean, the Fed said this morning, alluded to raising interest rates again, which they have to.
They said that they're going to do it until something breaks, and we're pretty close to breaking.
They have to.
Yeah.
So I can kind of give you a really quick idea of what happened, where it is, and where it's going.
Yeah.
Just in my opinion, expertise.
Yeah.
We had 2020. We had 2% interest rates. That's a scam. We should all be mad at the Fed for doing that.
Yeah.
2% interest rate. Talk about inflation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're talking about payments that are $3,000 less, $2,000 less than they are today. Those people that were buying, it's like fake money.
Yeah.
That was fake. That's like these companies operating these big, huge companies on just because they're using borrowed money. They're making really, really marginal profits because they're using cheap borrowed money. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Those are fake. So that's like going into now. These are buyers who are really qualified, who are really making a lot of money and really should be in that $1 million house or $2 million house.
Yeah.
Right? So we had low interest rates. Then we had the biggest inventory problem ever.
Yeah.
Ever. The inventory is really the thing that fueled everything. I'm talking about inventory. We're talking about 80% less inventory.
Yeah.
So just prior to 2020, we were already in a very, very low inventory market. Very low inventory. It was a scary low.
Yeah.
Right. We had enough inventory, I think, for 1 month, and that's how it kind of always stayed.
That's
right?
insane.
So from that point, it dropped 80%.
Yeah.
Think about what's going to happen. That's nuts.
Price
so
goes
that's
through the
all artificial pricing. So you go and you fall into that trap of 40 offers.
Yeah.
And I'm just so tired of this, and I want to be victorious, and I want to buy this property, and I pay. And people were doing it on my listings $400,000, $500,000 above the asking price because they're so desperate.
Yeah.
Then the next comp has to sell for that much. Then the next one has to sell for that much. Then you're at this kind of at a bubble stage a little bit, right? Although I don't think we're built to crash in any way. So that's where we were. Then all of a sudden, things get bad. Interest rates start to climb up. Interest rate is the big thing.
Yeah.
That's like the number one thing.
Oh, it's huge.
The Federal Reserve really controls like the entire world. I think.
Absolutely.
You know.
When they say something, it ripples amongst all the markets in the world. It's insane.
Well, if they have the power to raise interest rates and lower interest rates.
Yeah.
Then they have the power to raise prices and mess up markets. And so really it's up to them. So we're all, in America, it's kind of like all about policy, I think. So you kind of have to be like really aware of the policy. Again, get a good real estate agent to understand policy.
Yeah.
And that creates kind of a safety.
Yeah.
net, I think, just so you can understand how things are shifting. Just like two years ago when rent control became something. I mean, like we all had to shift and we all had to understand. They're talking about, different ways we're going to do taxes in the future. We all have to kind of be very, very aware. So that goes along with like surrounding yourself with good people, good attorneys like yourself. I think having you in a circle and people I can refer you to is a big thing. But good CPAs, good real estate attorneys, good real estate agents, I think are very, very important.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I know that it was not just the printing of the money, because I don't think a lot of people know that we have literally created. We're at $31 trillion in debt now. And before COVID, I think it was like 12 or something like that. So we've almost tripled the money supply, or not just the debt itself, but the money supply was inflated to, I think they said we printed like 70% of all the money in circulation ever in a 2-year period.
More than that.
That's crazy. But also like, so this is my, from my side too, because you did mention that I've done some real estate and doing some real estate. We are in the process of trying to build a 9-plex out in National City. And it kills me because, one of the problems with inventory is not just the houses being sold or on the market, but we're not building enough in San Diego. And going through this process of trying to build an apartment complex is insanely difficult.
It's very difficult.
There's so much red tape. I thought probate had a lot of red tape. Oh my, we're submitting our plans and it's got to go through like 8 different departments at the city who all like review it. And then we have to go back and like fix things. And it's just insane.
So I'm a developer too. So when I say, one of the proud things about real estate is, I'm in real estate, but I sell real estate, but I'm in real estate. I mean, I'm in there, man.
Firsthand.
So I've built ground up 4 multi-unit projects. 2 of them I were involved just from like a design and agent point. 2 to 3 others, it was just me and a partner building them from the ground up.
Yeah.
California is very, very difficult. You got to worry about ridiculous things. A lot of guys are going to Arizona and out of state.
Yeah.
So in terms of us like catching up for inventory, and the only reason we're even talking about this right now is just because we're talking about inventory.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And are we ever going to catch up with an inventory? It's funny because you're in this market where people kind of saw what happened in 07, 08, these big giant developers, Shea and all these other homes, they're not pulling out completely, but they're stopping.
Yeah.
They're just stopping. They're saying, we saw what happened. We saw how slow it gets. We're just going to stop right now because they don't think they're going to get the premium that they normally get on new construction. Because new construction comes with the premium. That's why I built it. That's why I got that. That's why I preach my clients to buy real estate next to new construction.
Yeah.
Because they create the new bench
Yeah.
for pricing.
Absolutely.
And they always sell for 5% more, 10% more than the comps. But these guys are going away. They can't build fast enough. And if they're building apartments. I don't know if you're paying attention to this.
Yeah.
So they're building apartments. We're talking about rents right now because rents are kind of what control kind of the market too. Because as rents go up, prices go up, and we're geared for rents just to skyrocket.
Yeah.
Like crazy. I have a studio in North Park. I Airbnb it. I make a killing on them. I mean, they're 350 square foot studios. I get $2,500, $3,000 a month on them. I train some of my clients how to do this too. It's really nice. Sometimes I buy in certain areas just for that reason because they could be done. I own the building. There are 3 studios. I said, you know what? I got this really noisy one that sits right on University in North Park. People beep their horn. It's at an intersection. I just didn't want to remodel it right now. I'm tied up with another project that I'm doing in Golden Hill. And I said, screw it, I'm going to list it yesterday. I listed on different places that I have to list my rentals on. I had probably like 275 inquiries in 24 hours.
Wow.
270. So then I go back and I'm thinking, what's this bullshit about having a 2.5% vacancy in rental in San Diego? We have like a negative vacancy in San Diego.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, I mean, like, how is real estate going to trend down?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, okay, so I'm on this real estate group on Facebook. I think you are too. And there's this guy who's always posting about how, we're going to see a crash like all crashes or some crazy like 40, 50% decrease in pricing and whatnot. And, one of the first rules of economics is, supply and demand. And we don't have the supply. We have the demand, but we don't have the supply. If we had the supply, even with a lesser demand, that would affect pricing going down most likely. But we were kind of talking about this before the show too, but hasn't the median price of property increased?
So nuts. You have everyone saying market's going down. You have, you watch different finance shows. They're talking about sales have slowed down. Mortgage applications have slowed down. All the above, right?
Yeah.
But then you check San Diego's median house pricing from September to October goes up by $5,000. So you know what's happening? Good houses are still selling.
Yeah.
And people always come to me and they're saying, I'm seeing all these price drops. That's because people are still living in like February and thinking, oh, I can price my house any way I want. And I'm going to sell it. That's gone.
So I was wondering, do you think we're going to see, I think there's a difference between list price and home value, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So would you, in your opinion, do you think that we're going to see a decrease in home value or just maybe a leveling off of home pricing?
I think you are going to see a 0% climb for a while.
Okay.
That's what I think.
So status quo just for maybe a year?
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough right now.
Yeah.
We're talking 7.5 interest rates we're probably going to be headed to pretty soon. Really, what I think is going to happen is we're going to see interest rates about 8.5, 9%. And that's going to be the real way to tackle inflation.
Yeah.
I mean, going back through history.
I think that's happening.
That's what they've done in the past. And I think that's happening, or it's going to happen until they crash the economy. So things kind of get to reality and they can kind of do what they're going to do there and let the market kind of work naturally. But I see a flat line, but I see opportunity in that flat line.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot more to choose from. You're not going to be able to have to get super creative. So the past few deals for myself and the way I'm kind of selling to my clients, again, we try to look for upside. Upside comes with creativity sometimes. And never had we had to been more creative, if you're me, and selling to my buyers in the last few years.
Yeah.
Because we had to try to make money on these deals. And they were so hard. I have to say no to 90% of them.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be headed into a market where we're going to be able to have kind of freedom of choice in terms of which deal I want to tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think before, I bought in the beginning of COVID, a house over by Cowles Mountain, right? And I think I bought and I sold kind of quick because we found a different house that we liked or whatever, and we made like almost $100,000 in less than 6 months. I looked at that house now, and it's almost $400,000 over what I bought it for in the beginning of 2020. It's insane, that kind of markup. And I think that, and also I was the winning bidder of 52 offers. So I don't think we're going to see, and look, I'm a casual real estate fan. I enjoy this. I find it fascinating. It's like a hobby to me, obviously, because my profession is law. I think that we're going to see a big slowdown on offers. I don't think that, on a side note, real quick, talking about building, right? And how I said it's a lot of red tape and whatnot. I just don't understand why these guys don't hire more people at the city to approve plans, to get more people through quicker, because they would make more in taxes. We would have more builds. Like why that blows my mind though.
Man, building during COVID was tough.
Yeah.
So if you're having a hard time now, you should have seen what we were doing during COVID. No, just cost of lumber. I mean, everything's going to be inflated, but during COVID, we had to schedule meetings 2 weeks ahead of time to meet these guys, to meet these clerks. Yeah. Right.
Couldn't get anything.
You had to one person in the room at the time in the whole building,
masks and all that stuff.
It was just really, really hard to even reach these guys to set the appointment. It was nuts. So, and every meeting, it wasn't 2 weeks. It was like a month ahead of time. Like you'd have to schedule. So that was part of the things that really slowed things down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, could they hire more people? I don't know what they need to do. There's just too much red tape.
Yeah.
Anywhere you are. One of my clients is doing a deal in very East County near Blossom Valley. I mean, whoever the entity, city or the county, made him do an environmental study, cost $200,000, plus give him, we're building 23 places of it, plus give them 100 acres of land, plus do something ongoing for the next 20 years to I don't know, watch some bird or something like that. I mean, who's going to build? Who's going to build when you have to do all that?
You know, that's so funny that you bring that up too, because the 9-plex that we're building, they asked for a hydrology report. And our architect was like, I've never had someone ask for that in this area that you're building in. And we asked them like, why? They're like, oh, we just think it's a good idea. And also we have to do improvements to the city. And a lot of people don't know, builders and developers, the city will ask you to do improvements for them,
all the time. And
we have to put money up for them to review our plans because we have to pay their people. Like what happened to our taxes? And I mean, we could talk about that forever, but it blows my mind sometimes the stuff you have to deal with. And that's why we have nothing coming on the market, no new builds, and price of lumber already makes a new build difficult enough. And that's why people are probably moving outside into Arizona and, Idaho and all these other different states.
Lumber's expensive. Everything's going to get worked out in the pricing of the properties. The properties. That's one of the other reasons why I kind of feel good about real estate and the future of real estate. If all these materials are so expensive, why would my old house go down in value?
Yeah,
it's going to cost so much to build these new houses.
That's
People
true.
are going to pay these crazy numbers because that's the only way they can build them.
Yeah.
How's our real estate going to go down? So going back to like the future of the market.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm still buying. I'm excited to buy. I'm trying to dump every last penny I can in real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, we just bought something recently in the last few months, and I'm still looking just because I really feel like I feel like stuff's going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
But that's me. I'm going to take a more conservative standpoint with my clients, of course. But I think we're going to see this zero flat line. I think we're going to see a tremendous amount of opportunity. I'm going to find my upside that I'm looking for. I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to make a ton of money. And I know if you can't dump that much money in the economy and print, and I've seen it happen. Look what's going on in England right now. I mean, they've started printing again.
Yeah.
Their pound's worth nothing. I feel like we're going to follow suit here, and I think they're going to drop interest rates again as soon as they raise them to 9% and all the shit crashes. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to drop the interest rates again, and we're going to start all over again.
Well, the only reason that they're raising the interest rates is to make sure inflation doesn't go out of control like it has been. So once we get to like 8, and they're like, you know what, we're going to pivot and we're going to go back down. The markets are going to fly. people who were not thinking about getting a house because of the interest rates, if we get down to a more manageable number, more people are going to be buying. And I think that's just going to jack the prices up again.
They're going to go nuts.
Yeah.
If the rates go down again, people kind of remember what happened.
Yeah.
They're going to go nuts. They're going to say, I have to buy now. We're going to see another increase in value, some sort of crazy increase in value. Hell, maybe we'll see a crash after that cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't see a crash in this cycle at all. Everybody has equity.
Yeah.
Everyone has a ton of equity. Who's going to let their house go?
Yeah.
You have who's going to sell and get rid of their 2% interest rate and their tax rate that's on like a quarter of what their value would be if they sold? No one's going to
Especially
get rid
with
of
interest rates like that.
That's why we're going to see a lot of people rent their homes and buy another home instead of sell their homes too, which is also going to be a problem with inventory.
Yeah.
Because people are not going to get rid of that You're making money just by having that loan.
Oh, absolutely.
In an inflationary market right now, where it's really, let's just say, like 10%, they say it's like 8.1 or whatever.
It's not 8.1.
Yeah, it's much more. You're making money by having a 2%. I have a lot of clients that call me in there. So, oftentimes the deal does not end.
Yeah.
At the closing. I mean, it's actually every time it doesn't. I'm renting their homes out for them when they leave. This is all as a courtesy. This is just something I do. They're my friends at this point. I make money on the sale. So I do everything else in between pro bono. That's how I maintain these long-term relationships. So they're telling me, I want to refinance. And I have to talk them out of it.
Yeah.
I have to talk them out of it.
Well, they see that how much equity they have in the house, and they think that I can extract that out, but realistically, at what cost? Because with the interest rates the way they are, it's just not a wise investment.
I advise them to take a equity line of credit any day of the week.
A HELOC.
So that's I actually think we're going to see a HELOC boom right now. No one talks about it.
Yeah.
They're not talking about it in my office. I don't see my peers talking about it. I leverage through home equity lines of credit, and it's actually created like a very beautiful life for me.
Well, you don't pay for anything.
That's the power of real estate. Real estate is a very, very beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because I made a lot of money selling real estate, but I never achieved freedom more than owning real estate and what's happened with appreciation over the last 10, 12 years.
Let me pose a question to you. If you had to choose, buy and sell real estate for the rest of your life or hold as a passive investor, but you couldn't do both, what would you choose?
Oh, buy and sell real estate. That's a very good question. I'm so conservative, and I'm in a position where, like the name of the show, 20 Doors, where I kind of have a lot. So I think I would hold. Yeah, maybe try to go become a doctor if I just wanted to make all sorts of crazy money or something. That's what I might do, because at this point it's for me. But if I was starting over, it just depends what market you're in. Actually, that's going back to something I want to talk about. Markets shift.
Yeah.
Markets change all the time. In my whatever, I still think it's a short career because I'm still younger than everyone in my office for some reason. I've seen 3 or 4 shifts myself. They shift. There's money to make in them. Strategy changes. You have to watch it. You have to shift with it as it goes. Again, why you need, that's
experience.
The type of value you need in an agent.
Yeah.
So there's strategy in this market. We just kind of talked about it. I mean, I kind of see what's happening. I know what I'm going to go for. I think there's going to be upside. You have to have a vision. Real estate is all about vision. People don't get that. I mean, 152 people can see that house you're just talking about, but one person has a vision, that person can still make money, a huge margin on that deal because he brought that vision. People have no vision.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
true.
It depends. The vision. Are you talking about more of how to make money off of it, or are you talking about how you would like that property to be?
It's all of it. You walk to a property and you see something someone doesn't see, right? You bring your ideas to this property, and all of a sudden your ideas make a profit. And that's how real estate is. People don't play it that way, but it happens every single time because people don't have a vision. People don't know that a home can be remodeled.
Yeah.
Did you know that? They think it's impossible. I'm a buyer's agent, right, for a long, long time. People have no clue sometimes you can change that fireplace. I'm telling you the truth. I have to tell them, what are you talking about? That's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Let's change that fireplace and flip it if that's what you want to do. But we can do all the stuff. Then I hook them up with my crews and my people that I feel comfortable, because I can't refer everyone. These contractors are hard to deal with. It's a whole nother art, right? But you have some right guys to come in there, and you save half of what some huge giant general contractor charges you. You know what I mean?
I think that was another thing during this craziness too, is that GCs and just finding trustworthy people. Talk about a trustworthy agent. That's one thing, because a lot of people do default to, I know 20 real estate agents, a lot of people know a dozen, any just average person. And you want to try and help out a friend or a family member or what have you. But if it's someone who doesn't do it as like a profession, if it's something that they just started doing, they don't have that experience that you're talking about. But having, you kind of touched on having like a crew or people to trust, that's invaluable. Because if you can refer me to someone and that person who you refer me to is kind of garbage, that's going to look bad on you too. And I'm sure you, over the years, are able to weed these type of people out because there's fly-by-night contractors or handymen or whomever, plumbers, and they just leave a bigger problem than what you had in the first place.
So my life is a daily visit to Home Depot. It's just turned, it's turned into that for the past probably like 8 years, literally. Yeah. It's like a daily visit. And I'm not just buying one thing. I'm talking about, I need lumber for this project. I need to pick out a tub for that project. So pretty much like contractor developer is pretty much like almost like what I almost am right now.
Yeah.
On top of a real estate agent. They are terrible people to work with.
Yeah.
They're not terrible. They're not like people.
Yeah.
They're not personable. You can't talk to these guys. They're artists in their own right.
Uh-huh.
They have no clue how to run a business.
Yeah.
That's why the few of them skyrocket to the top and they're able to charge 4 times the price.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to find your median and your balance of like how to deal with all that stuff and get the value from them and get the workmanship from them and coming in on time and finishing the job and pricing and knowledge and it all comes. Some of them don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They come in there, the tile's all messed up, the tub's not done. They didn't put a liner in the tub or hot mop or they don't know what they're doing. They're just saying they know what they're doing. So finding the right guys is big. That industry is very hard for me to refer for a few reasons.
Yeah.
One, I need these guys.
Yeah.
Right. 2, they're not that good.
Yeah.
A lot of them. So you have the good ones you need to keep. So what I do is, as much as I can, I have my circle of these guys and I have my clients and I only give them to my clients.
Yeah.
And I say, and I know this is like cliche, I'm like, don't give anybody this person's number. I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't give them the number. I need this guy. It's just for you.
Yeah.
It's a client privilege.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I wanted to ask you one thing because you said you've been doing this since you were 18 and, obviously I've known you for a very, very long time. And we don't really talk about real estate like this. You and I do in passing and not like sit down like this. This is good information that you've given me, but you've had 18 years that you've done this. Is there any like deal that stands out to you over those 18? Because I'm sure you've had hundreds, right? But is there anything like that's really stood out to you that you're like proud of or like you're happy about? Some kind of good.
I mean, that's a good question. I've done so many funny deals and cool deals and deals I'll remember forever. Mm-hmm. One deal for sure stands out to me. I'm extremely proud of. I've always been proud of this one because everyone, in my business, it's like a number. It's about money and money and money. We acquired a property one time. We were getting killed on this property. It's a development property. It was 3 parcels. There was a lot of things going on with it in terms of tenants and litigation stuff and just some different things going on. We were really, really eating it on this property. Mm-hmm. We had a house on this property. It was rented by a gentleman who had been renting for 65, 68 years. He could have bought this property 2 or 3 times. He's lived there since the 60s or something like that at the time. He's told me a lot of cool stories. He was paying $800. So I love North Park, by the way. I sell a lot of North Park because I like North Park and I buy what I like too. So this was a North Park house. So I inherited this guy. 2-bedroom house, cool property. He was paying $800 a month. And we're getting killed on this property, right? So I go there.
What's the market rent?
It's funny that this is what I'm proud of. I've built ground up several properties. I've made huge profits. I mean, you'd be proud about it, but this one wasn't about money. I go there. My partner is like, kick this guy out.
Yeah.
The rent's super high there. We need our money. We're losing.
Yeah.
And I'm the real estate guy in our partnership, so I'm the one that has to do all this stuff. So I go there, and I'm talking face to face, and he sits me down and shows me his house, blast from the past. The walls were yellow. It was nuts.
Yeah.
And we're talking, and I have this eviction letter in my hand, and we're talking, and I'm like, dude, never mind, man.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Just we just bought this property. I'm your new landlord. Have a nice day. And I think one of the most things I was proud of is I finally was in a position because none of my investors would ever let me do this with their properties. But this was mine, right?
Yeah.
And I was in a position to say, dude, this is, you can
stay.
You can stay. I found my reasoning was I'll spend my money elsewhere and I'll remodel something else and I'll just let him stay here forever.
Yeah.
So he actually stayed there for 3 years. He passed away. He was an old man. I got a call early in the morning. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
To kind of show it in just like a numbers form, I now rent that house for $6,500. So that, the loss was probably the most important thing I've ever done in real estate. I just thought that was really cool that I could do something for. So when do we get an opportunity to do that? Who would do that?
Yeah.
And
nobody.
It's something my stupid ass would do, and some people would say, and I did it, and I'm just proud about it.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, you let him stay in a place he's been for like 60 years. I'm
not going to displace that guy. 65 years,
and you end up on the news. He would have
died.
Yeah, you end up on the news too.
Yeah, that's going to be another show we'll talk about. What happens when these old people move? They, it's not good. We want to keep them in there and help them, and make it a smooth transaction. So, man, I appreciate you being on this show, Justin. It was a good talking to you. I feel like we're going to provide a lot more information through questions, through past deals, and I think buyers or anyone listening out there will pick things up and learn how to maybe avoid mistakes or just buy in a better way. Or more importantly, they'll pick up a phone and give me a call and look me up. And I do work in San Diego, and I like to help certain buyers that are coachable, and they'll listen and they'll kind of take in the value that I'm trying to bring to their purchase.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man.
Of course.